morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to friends in North America, and hello to everyone watching on replay. My name is Nancy Hetker, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia. And today, before we get into our project, I just wanted to remind everybody that our new September to December catalog starts September 1st. Yes, September 1st. That's unusual. Must be like the first Tuesday of the month. So September 1st goes through the end of December, and has all kinds of interesting stuff in general and for the holiday season. So yeah, it's good to have one. Everything in here will be in Stampin' Up's website, along with a lot of other stuff that isn't in this catalog. You can see it's fairly small. We have many other products that are only available online. But if you would like a hard copy of this catalog, and I can't open it up and show it to you until the 1st, it's got all kinds of inspiration pictures, and it's fun to look through. So if you'd like a copy and you're in Australia and you don't have a demonstrator you're working with, I'd be happy to fill that role for you. Go ahead and send me an email, nancy@nancysniftynotes.com, or go to my website, nancysniftynotes.com, and there is a button on the right side that you can click on to say request a catalog, and I would be happy to send that to you. So who's joining me today? Good morning, Gladys. Yes, I am feeling better. You will hear I still have a bit of a cough, but it's much better than a week ago, which is a good thing, and my energy levels are coming up, which I'm very glad for. Yeah, so if you are joining me, please do say hello. Hello, Paula. I love to see who jumps on either while I'm live or on the replay. I do see your comments, and if you have questions, you can pop them in there too, and I will respond to them. Yeah, let's get into today's project. So, I found this card made by another demonstrator, and she is US based or North America based, and did it in imperial measurements, and it was so super simple and easy to change to metric. So that's what I did, and look at that fun diagonal fold. And I just think this is a really good use of designer series paper. And I am now down to, excuse me, like I said, I'm down to one strip of this, actually the pink one, that's wide enough to make a full card front. So I've gotten good use out of, I think, 2 packs of this particular designer series paper. It's rare for me to buy 2 packs, but I did do a mini album out of it as well. So I've used a lot of it, and you know I'm not a fan of petal pink, but this has been one of my favorite uses of petal pink. Okay, so I've decided to try it in a different set of papers. So I pulled out a couple of coordinating, but not as high contrast pieces of Nature Walk. And I think those are pretty fun. So we're going to start, and I'll show you how to cut everything. And we're going to cut both pieces together. Hi, Mom. Thanks for joining me. You can hear I still have a bit of this stupid cough, but it is much better. It gets worse, of course, when I'm doing activity and talking. but it really is much better than it was. Okay, so I've got them aligned with each other, and I've got it in the paper trimmer, and this corner and this corner are lined up with the cutting track. And we'll move the scoring blade out of the way, make sure that's on there, align this again, and I find it, when going corner to corner, I find it's actually easier to put my blade down in the middle of the paper so I'm not bashing up that corner or moving it as I come into contact with it. So yeah, I just go one direction and then the other, and now I've got it in half on the diagonal. And this is the trickiest part of the whole thing, I think. Well, probably, yeah. You can do these one at a time at this point if it's easier, but I just get my mouth set the right way, as my mother-in-law used to say. Now you have to keep them together so you know that you're doing the corner to corner thing again, right? Okay, so I've got them together. I'm kind of pinching them as I go so that they don't move too much. And again, corner to corner, blade in the middle. And you may notice I only went up about there because I didn't want to go all the way up and come down and have this move. So it just held it in place better. Okay, so that's those cuts. Now, if I had designer series paper where I liked, you know, both sides of if I liked those together, I could do just one card with one piece of designer series paper. Since I chose two different papers, we're going to do two cards. And now we're going to bring in our thick white card base. And again, we're going to do corner to corner, and our corner here is where that score line is. And again, line it up, corner to corner, start in the middle, and like that. And one more. So, Mom, I was thinking this could be a really good design for the cards you make with your handmade papers. If you've got some that coordinate pretty well together. There we go. Okay, we're finished with the trimmer. So, for the measurements of the designer series paper, it is whatever your first layer down is. So for inches, that would be what? 5 1/4 by 4. And for metric, we're talking 10 by 14.4. So now we're going to lay out pieces. No. This is why I say we're going to lay them out now. See, so they're matchy-matchy, but they're not identical. Whereas on this one, there's a lot more contrast. So it just depends on what look you like. Oh, and before I do this, she had added a little bit of blending in there just to make it, I guess, a little more interesting. I don't know. I'm just bringing in some Lost Lagoon. Maybe we'll leave this one uninked and see which one we prefer. Okay. So now you're just going to have an even margin all the way around and glue these on. Hi, Sarah. How are you doing this morning? That made it easier to see where this line is. I'm gonna go like, well, it doesn't matter. So I want to make sure that I get it where this fits on too. Might be a little too generous on that. This, I think, is the hardest part. It looks like it should be really easy. But to get it straight and the right placement. There we go. This one is a little more forgiving. But you don't want to look too far, you know, like you could do that, but it's not. You want it to look more like that one than like something rogue. I can definitely tell that our days are getting longer here. technically, here in Australia, spring starts September 1. So Mom, basically after you left, our really super chilly winds seem to have gone away. Come here. Okay, I'm just checking to make sure there's no sticky spots. Yay! There's one right there. Okay, now we do it all again. See if we can get a little better result this time. Let's see what happens if we start with this one. So I imagine if I cut this down one more size, I would have bigger margins. That might be an easier way to do it. I was going to say either cutting it down more or doing this long one first. Yeah. Even with just that tiny little bit of glue, I was able to get good time to maneuver it. Oh, good. I was just wondering the other day if you guys are actually using the deck. Mom says they had a beautiful day. I know it's been beastly hot in the U.S., so I'm glad things are starting to cool off for you. And Paula, I'm glad you guys are getting out more. Okay, now both of them have their fronts on. Now, on this one, it was all one suite. The stamp set, the dies, the papers, and the sentiment. On this one, I didn't really want to use the Nature Symphony images. I wanted to change it up a bit. So, I'm pulling in Boutique Blossoms, and I've really only done 1 or 2 things with this so far, and I really like this set. It just hasn't stayed on my radar, so I'm happy to use it today. But instead of stamping and cutting out with the outline dies, I went ahead and I cut some leaves and flowers with the, I call them solid dies. And I will show you what I've got. So I've got some leaves. I can find them here. And the flowers. And I've got 2 sets of those. And then I also pulled out banner sayings. So this one has no sentiments and this one has no images. So it's kind of nice when you get those, you can do mix and match. And I just pulled out the happy birthday from that. And there's some scrap, and I thought since the main color on here is pretty peacock, I thought we'd stamp in that. And that has coordinating punch, the 3 banners punch. And it's okay with me that it didn't get the flag over there, because I'm going to tuck it under a flower, I believe. We'll see how we go. Okay, so let's see about building these up. Oh, I know. So when I was looking at this, these have a lot more kind of detail, and in the center I put these, I can't remember what they're called, but these are the embellishments that came with this suite. But there isn't really a good place to put an embellishment, and they look kind of weird, to be honest, I think, on these. So what I did, I think I really like that, is I brought in our new white gel pen. And again, this hasn't been on my radar so much. I was so excited to see it because the ones we had a long time ago, you know, when you got them to work, it was great, but they tended to like clog up after the first use and then not be usable. So I was happy when we got one and people were saying, oh, such good things about them. And so far, I agree. And one of the things that I really like is how opaque they are. For a while we had a chalk pen, a white chalk pen, which was more like a marker. This is a gel rollerball type pen. And I'm going ahead and doing this because it does take a moment for it to dry thoroughly. But I like how bright white it is. I like, again, that it's opaque, and that it's easy to get into small spaces or to make small marks. So we'll let that dry while we work with this other pair. And I haven't fully laid this out with the sentiment, so I want to just get a better idea of what I am doing here. Yeah, I'm gonna like that. Okay, I think we can start here. And I'm going to put these on. Oh. Yeah, it's okay. We're going to try it the other way. Yeah. Put those on with dimensionals. Especially if I take off the backing. And I just think it makes it just pops a little more somehow. Let's do that. And then I found with the leaves, I could do glue, but sometimes the glue dots are easier. And actually, let's kind of figure out. Yeah, I had a feeling I was going to have to trim this down. Question is how much? And that will vary on each card depending on exactly where I've placed almost. Okay. So one reason I like the glue dots is that they're all gone. But I anticipated that. I've got a new box right here. Because as I'm slipping stuff under, I don't have to worry about glue being in weird places. And it doesn't give as much dimension as a glue dot. I'm sorry, a dimensional, but it's not totally flat like liquid glue. So I think that's a good thing. And then I was going to bring in that bit there-ish. go. And let's see where we want. Yeah, that one can stay full strength, if you will. Okay, I need some more chatter, ladies. The other thing is, well, of course you can do that with glue too, but just put them up at the tips. That works fine to hold it all down. And now we've got these guys. So you can also pick up your glue dots by pressing it and lifting up. And when you've got a fresh roll, that works really quite easily. I find as you get down to the end of the roll, they've been compressed for a while and they tend to be a little more sticky. And the last one on this card. But these pick up really easily with a fresh roll. And let's see about getting that in there. Now, one of the things that I do find with glue dots is if you just have one on a long piece like this, they will tend to pivot. So I'm actually going to add another one on that side since it's tucking under. Picked up another one on my fingernail. There we go, and now it doesn't pivot much at least. So there's one. And again, it's the same thing on this one. I'm just gonna get rid of that. I'm sorry, this is probably a little tedious to watch, which is why I wanted more chatter. Paula says, there's a weird bird or animal screeching outside my bedroom window. It's too dark to see. So, didn't you say at one point you had an owl? But I presume it's not that. Okay, one downside of that is that if you don't have it right up in front of you, you can wind up with them going off the die cut. So I just folded it back up on itself. We'll bring in this bit. Again on the fingernail. There we go. And now this side will probably be able to go entire. Yep. And again, doing doubles, one front, one back. Slide it under there where I want it. Go a little more. No. And we'll do one more back behind there on this one. There we go. So there are those two. This one does not have the blending inside. This one does. Now, do you like that, or does it just look like I've got mussed up cardstock? That's the question. And again, I have it in here. Maybe a baby owl. So, there are the two different patterns on the same design of card. You know what? This one, it's so dark, which is fine, but I'm going to add just a couple of these little rhinestones just to brighten it a little bit. There we go. Just to catch the light a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure about the blending on the inside either. I was a little surprised, I guess. Maybe if I was going to put another flower and leaf in there or something, I don't know. I probably wouldn't do it again. But there we go. I'm not sure which way is better to show them all. Yeah, yes to the rhinestones. I agree, Paula. So, that is my project for today. Reminder again, questions, comments, requesting a catalog, Nancy at nancysniftynotes.com. This will be my next blog post over at nancysniftynotes.com. There's all kinds of resources over there, so please feel free to go check it out. And I will be back, same time, same place, next week. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.